It's always fun to share book ideas. Arrow.net, ARROE.net. We are unplugged and totally uncut with Mindy Thomas and Guy Raz.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fantastic. I want to thank you guys for doing what you do with your podcast, as well as now we have a book. Now we've got something that young adults and even adults can, we can physically hold on to this, and that means a lot to me.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's actually real.
Well, and the thing about it is, though, is that I would like to know the research on this and find out. I'll bet you there will be more adults that'll get into this because there's stuff in here. I dive into it going, oh, my God, I didn't know that. And I didn't have to go to Google to do that.
Yeah, we did a ton of research on this. We've got, being factual is super important to us, both on our podcast and in our book. So in the back, we've got a lot of back matter for kids and adults. There's a whole, there's everything is footnoted. There's a glossary of terms, bibliography, so you can find that, you have any questions, you can go right to the source of where we found some of this information. But we learned so much in making this book. I mean, we learned that there is a louse that will, that's in California, that will climb into I think it was a red snapper's mouth.
What?
And eat its tongue, and then replace its tongue with its own body. And so the louse becomes the new tongue. And you can't make this stuff up. It's real. And so it was so much fun. I think we learned a ton just in researching this book. We looked for the wildest information we could find.
Wow. Well, Guy, continue, please.
I was going to say the trapjaw ant can actually swim 10 times faster than Michael Phelps.
Really? See, I'd like to be a fly on the wall when you guys are in these little meetings, because you guys, you bring up something very interesting here: flying fish and flightless birds. I wish I would have been in on that meeting to find out. Okay, go find out the answers on this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of laughing, but I think we take our silliness very seriously. And so, it was just finding all of this information and then trying to come up with the most interesting ways to present it to kids. Because, on our podcast, we try to make our show a cartoon for the ear.
Right.
And we thought, well, how can we do this with a book? And so the book is super visual. You could open it up on any page and learn something. It's not really meant to be read front to back, although you could. And so there's comic panels and there's quizzes and magazine style layouts. There's a fake jellyfish menu from like a TGI Friday style restaurant. And so it was learning all of this information, but then also coming up with new inventive ways to present it to kids and parents. There's plenty in here for parents as well, but I think they might get some of the jokes and the visual jokes. But yeah, it's meant to be shared.
What I love is that they personalize your images and stuff like that in the book. What was it like for you when the cartoonist basically steps in and says, okay, this is how I see how you guys are going to act and react? Because you're now part of the comic book hero generation with this book.
Oh,
yeah, it's funny. I mean, we are characters in our podcast, and we are, we're sort of avatars for the kids and their parents listening, because we go on these magical journeys, and the book Wow in the Wild is like that. It's like a field trip through the animal kingdom, and Mindy and I are your guides in this book, and so. Seeing ourselves as cartoons is really fun, because it is, it is who we are. I mean, it looks like us, and it's a sort of a version of us, but of course it's a sort of a kind of a slightly outlandish but fun version of us, but a way for us to really connect with kids too. Mm-hmm. We want everything we do to be, it's designed to get kids excited about science without sort of batting them over the head with it, to sort of show how fun and exciting it is without having to be didactic about it.
One of the things...
We don't want anything we do to feel like school.
Well, you're right about that. Well,
Cool.
and for adults, you make me feel like a kid again because you write about the North American southern flying squirrel. Now, I'm in the South now, but I grew up in Montana. We had flying squirrels up there. I've not seen a flying squirrel down here.
Oh, you're spending too much time in the studio. You got to get out there, and that's what we hope that kids will do. We hope that they'll get out and they'll interact with nature more. They'll learn their local wildlife. They'll learn local birds and be able to identify some of these things, and also maybe to not be as have phobias of certain animals. Right. That they'll have a healthy fear, but also appreciate that we are just another animal on this planet. We're all sharing this together.
I'm glad you said
that.
I'm glad that you said that because I will not let the Terminex man kill my spiders. I realize that people are afraid of spiders and stuff, but I love spiders in the way that what they do and what they actually, they're on a mission too. They have a job to do. Leave the spiders alone.
100%. Spiders are incredible. Spiders, they're sort of our own little Terminex company inside of our houses. They're the ones taking care of the other pests that we don't want in the house. So I agree 100% with that.
Yeah.
Me too.
So what the
spiders.
The idea of breaking it down, like, because I'm staring at Gazelle magazine, and once you step inside Gazelle magazine, oh my God! I mean, this is like when I was a kid, we had the Weekly Reader, and you give chills and excitement to the imagination with this book.
Oh, thank you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mindy.
Go ahead, guys. Oh, yeah, you go ahead. You talk. This is what we do.
We tried to make the book, we not only fun for kids, but also a wink to parents. So, Gazelle magazine, obviously it's a nod to Elle magazine. And we've got sections called, mammals. They're just like us. If you open Us Weekly, you see that section about how celebrities are just like us. And in Gazelle magazine, we've got a section called Trend Alert, and it's about animal horns. But you actually learn that animal horns are made up of keratin, which is also found in human hair and fingernails. And you learn why animals have horns. And so it's designed to kind of pop out and to be fun, but also there's real hard science on every page of the book.
Yeah, as you say that, I'm here in South Charlotte in a beautiful forest, and deer walk by all the time, and I think that's one of the things that I love about this book is the fact that it's almost like you stepped into my heart, and because I'm always out there visiting the deer, the hawk, the owls, and stuff like that, and you're right, kids need to get out there and discover what's in their own force.
Yeah, I hope that they will. I hope that. One of the things that we've learned in the 5 years of doing our podcast, Wow in the World, is that scientists and kids think so much alike. They're not afraid to follow their curiosity, to ask questions, to ask ridiculous questions, to go through unusual, experiments to find their answers. And anything that we can do to get kids to think more like scientists and to make science less scary for kids, because sometimes I think there's a stigma like science is for smart people, and they don't identify. They don't think of themselves as smart people that could be scientists. And I hope that we can take away some of that stigma and make science fun, because it is fun. And these experiments that scientists do in the real world are fun. But I think sometimes the way it's delivered to kids is super academic and dry, and we're kind of here to dispel that notion that science is kind of
you're so right, because science to me when I was in school was, okay, go pick up the book. It was usually a hardcover book, and now we're going to learn how to dissect a frog. And it's like, what am I learning here? I don't want to cut into anything. But you do dissect things with your words. For instance, like, are you an amphibian? I mean, salamanders are strange. I mean, first of all, salamanders are fast, and I want to know where they find that speed.
Yeah.
They are fast. They can lose their tail. They have regenerative qualities. They're amazing.
So now, what's next for you guys? There's got to be a TV animated program on Hulu or on PBS. Because you have really developed this into something that people are saying, that's my show, that's mine, it's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have been, we've been so lucky with our podcast because we reach millions of kids every month through Wow in the World, and we were able to write our first book, The How and Wow of the Human Body. This is our second book based on Wow in the World around animals. And of course, there's been interest. There's always been interest in sort of doing something around television or video. And watch this space. We will see. Mm-hmm. We will see.
I love. We've also got a live show, and we've got a. I guess all the other things I can't really talk about just yet. But yes, we're all over the place.
I love the way that you guys put conservation in here as well, because young adults and kids need to know what conservation is. It's not just that green barrel we put out there so they can pick up the recycling.
Yes, I mean 150 species go extinct every single day around the world. But, we want kids to feel empowered. We don't want them to feel helpless. And we want them to know that they can make a contribution. So part of our section on conservation is also explaining that human behavior has saved certain animals from extinction. There are animals that we've actually brought back from the brink. And there are things that kids can do. They can get involved. They can plant native pollinating plants. They can do things like eat less meat, for example, and eat more insects, because eating insects is a great source of protein, and it's really good for the planet. Yeah. And we talked a little bit about the Half Earth project that was created by the famed biologist E.O. Wilson. And that's the idea that we should set aside half of the Earth's land for nature. And maybe if we do that, we could actually save our planet.
I love you guys so much. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future.
Thank you
we
so
will.
much.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Well, you be brilliant today, you two.
You
Thank
too.
you, Errol.